municipalities and many others to find workable solutions. A workable solution for the entire value chain. We understand that it's broke. It's absolutely broke today in some of our municipalities. I was sharing at our table earlier over lunch that when I took on this role, I thought, okay, I need to figure out the value chain and understand what costs are being avoided or what revenue is being generated in that value chain so that we can understand the full picture. Well, one model for North America, that's not going to work. Okay, maybe a regional model, that's not going to work. And what I've found is every municipality has their own story and their own case. So it's about working together and finding the right solutions to the overall recycling infrastructure. Because we know that people want to recycle. We've heard this morning, they're throwing everything into that big bin or that clear bag, and it causes challenges for all the materials that are in that bag, not just glass. One might offer that glass is considered the demon that's in that bag or in that bin today, and we need to change that. We need to change what we believe is a demon and back into what it truly is, one of the world's most sustainable materials and sustainable packaging materials. But for that to happen, it's all about quality. And we'll go into that. So a little bit maybe about OI. In North America, it's about a $3 billion business. We operate 17 plants in the continental U.S., 2 in Canada, and a recent acquisition for those who consider Mexico as part of North America because of the North America Free Trade Agreement. We have 5 more facilities in Mexico. So we have founded in 1903, worldwide 6.2 billion in sales in 2015, and 27,000 employees. Here in Georgia, we operate one of our larger glass plants. We melt over 200,000 metric tons per year of glass. And when Angus, where'd Angus go? There he is. You know, he was talking billions of pounds and metric tons this morning. And I said, we need to offer a quiz here. What's the difference? But yes, I will talk in metric tons, because that's what we talked about in OI globally. So 200,000 metric tons. We consume over 40,000 metric tons of recycled glass per year. And yes, we're one of those container companies that Kurt referenced that bring glass in from other parts of the country because we can't get enough in Georgia. We'll take a lot more than 40,000 tons. So there's no reason, I believe, the market in Georgia, if we could collect a significant portion of the glass being consumed, there's no reason for us to bring it from anywhere else, or no reason for the glass to leave the state of Georgia. Because there's a lot of consumers, brands, Anheuser-Busch InBev, Middle Coors, Sweetwater, Red Nut Brewing, many others who are consumers of the materials that we make. Question in the back.
Do you have a market for mixed glass currently? Are you using the mix, or you have to have it separated by color?
We prefer separated by color, but we do use 3 mix. We have a mix, we call it Gramber, so that's mashing together green and amber. And if you keep the ratios right, we can use it. But we have a specification for Flint, we have a specification for amber, we have a specification for green. But we also have a specification for amber.
You don't have a brown, green, clear specification?
Yes, we do. Amber is brown, green is green. And we also have a Gramber spec, which we'll take the 3 mix. It's a mix of Flint, or clear, brown, and green.
What percentage do you think of that?
Oh, I don't have those numbers off. What percentage in total? Great question. One I don't have in the top of my head. But we use, in North America, we use over 1 million tons of recycled glass per year.
Do you buy it direct here in Atlanta?
What's your
From the
definition of
consumer?
direct?
I mean, from the, like a borough.
No, we buy all our glass from a color processor or beneficiator, and we use many beneficiators around the world, around the U.S. Okay, so, yeah, we're based in, our corporate headquarters are in Perrysburg, Ohio. That's what I call home when I'm there, which hasn't been a lot lately. But, we believe in glass. We consider ourselves part of the local community and the local economy, because most of our facilities either bring in their raw materials or cull it from a 300-mile radius and sell most of the product made at that facility in a 300-mile radius, so we consider ourselves part of the local economy. And it's, like I said, glass is the only material that's widely reusable, 100% recyclable. It's inert. It doesn't react with the beverage or the food that's inside the container. And we will use all the glass scrap. We use all the glass scrap that's generated in our production, and we will use all the glass scrap or recycled cullet that meets our quality specification to furnish ready material in our furnaces around the U.S. In the U.S., we have furnaces that operate from 20% post-consumer content, because that's what we can get economically in that particular location, up to 80%. So we love the 80%. We know that it's possible. It operates. Every 10% increase in use reduces our energy consumption, so it helps the environment. And it reduces our emissions by 5%, those emissions of greenhouse gases. Some of the same types of numbers that Angus shared with us earlier this morning. So, our perspective on glass recycling is keep it in the loop, keep it in the closed loop. And no offense to the fiberglass industry, where they use it and it serves a great purpose insulating our homes and helping us as consumers reduce our energy production. But we would like to keep it in the glass container loop. Of course, we're biased, and so in total transparency. But really, it benefits the entire industry, the entire glass industry, the more recycling we get. So with that, I'll entertain more questions. Kurt, go ahead.
No, I'll lob you a softball.
Oh, I need those. It's right after lunch,
You said that you go anywhere from 20% to 80%. What's your plant in Georgia run there?
Our plant in Georgia runs at 20%.
Lots upside there.
Lots of upside. They've been known to run as high as 60 when it's available.
What color cullet percentages are used in Europe?
In Europe, our global average in Europe is 52% across 35 manufacturing facilities.
Why are they better than us?
Because they have a collection and processing infrastructure that is very mature. It is primarily glass streams coming in and being processed.
And they have
Separated.
And they have fewer landfills.
Yeah.
They have lots of regulations.
And they have, as well, and Kurt makes a point, there is legislation around the recovery and the collection and the recycle of materials, not just glass. And so there is, Lisa's gone, she asked about the city ordinance. I mean, there are regulations in Europe that helps that recycling story. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. However, you got it. When you look at Europe, right, and you're looking at that, the average tax on the landfill is $133 a ton. And so, if a MRF had that, they'd be able to certainly get an ROI of glass cleaning equipment. And then the other point is that there are some MRFs around the country that have beneficiating systems, but they're large-scale, giant MRFs. And they're specialized with that beneficiating system. They're very few. So generally, almost all the glass has to go to a beneficiator off-site.
But aren't they more separation of the different colors in Europe as well?
They do a lot of
So
source
that's,
separation.
it's already cleaned up
They do. They have.
versus where we have here.
They do. But they also do 3-mix.
Jim,
Yes,
What's the prevalence of single-stream programs in Europe then?
Very few. It's actually emerging, maybe legislation, or at least there's emerging discussions for some communities in Europe to go single stream. You know, through the Trade Association of Europe, FEBE, the equivalent of DPI here in the U.S. The industry is taking a position saying, please don't do that. Yes, they are pointing to North America and pointing to the U.S. and saying, see what happened. Yes, in the back.
Question from you as a user processing glass. I think there's some confusion about why paper and mixed organic are even an issue. If you're basically a furnace, it seems like that would just burn up and go away. I get it that ceramics are very, very bad because the melt way higher. But if a bit of paper, what's the problem there?
So there is a level of organics that is tolerable, particularly any organics that have carbon. So plastics, paper, some people say, hey, that's a fuel for you. Yes, it is a fuel, but it is also upsets the glass chemistry. There is a percentage that we can deal with. And we actually use carbon in our formulations to make brown glass. Too much carbon, I run outside my glass specification, and my customer doesn't like really dark glass or really light glass. And so we need to keep it in a range because I don't need to chase it every day. A typical furnace is a large swimming pool of molten glass, anywhere from 250 to 300 tons. And it takes a while to turn that over. Other questions? Otherwise, I think we're going to invite Owens Cordy.
Yes, thank you for the introduction.
I'll pass it off. He's been waiting anxiously all day.
We're OC, not OI.
Yeah. And they're based in Toledo, Ohio.
Correct. A couple miles away. Good afternoon, my name is John Power. I'm the plant manager of the Fairburn Insulation Plant on the southwest side of Atlanta. And no offense to the glass container industry, but we'd rather cram the insulation into a wall in the attic and let you enjoy it for decades. All right. So my perspective is a little different.
We both want their glass, that's the important.
Absolutely. We definitely share some of the same perspective as OI and the need for recycled glass around the industry across the country. So my perspective is a little different, being inside the plant, but I want to share some prepared comments that give a little history or a little perspective at the corporate level as well as at the plant level where I reside. So at Owens Corning, expanding our impact and sustainability is a core value. We believe it to be an essential element of our business, both from the products we make and the way we make them. In 2002, Owens Corning established its first set of 10-year footprint reduction goals, having significantly reduced our environmental footprint. By the end of 2010, we established a new set of 10-year goals. We've been committed to creating a positive impact by setting goals, measuring, reducing, and reporting our footprint for many years through our drive to become a net positive company. Our efforts have not gone unnoticed, as OC has earned a position in the Dow Jones Sustainability World Index for 6 years in a row, and an investment firm focused on sustainable investing named Owens Corning an industry leader for the Dow Jones World Building Products Group for the third year running. Specific to glass recycling, I think Angus said it very well this morning, so his comments spoke to really our whole industry. So I want to echo a few of those that are key. Owens Corning is one of the largest consumers of recycled glass in the world, consuming over 1 billion pounds of recycled glass annually in North America, and our demand for furnace-ready cullet is forecasted to grow with the forecasted growth in U.S. housing starts. As such, our light-density fiberglass insulation is certified by scientific certification systems to have minimum content of 53%, and in some areas we have as much as 73% recycled content. For that reason, strong glass recycling programs are of paramount importance to Owens Corning throughout the country. Not only does cullet support our aggressive sustainability goals, it also provides other important benefits at the local level. Cullet reduces raw material resources to make glass, which leads to less mining of Earth's non-renewable resources. Cullet saves energy needed to make our final product. Insulation with recycled content is desired by green building construction programs, and cullet use results in landfill diversion. So Owens Corning has been a long-standing advocate for all methods of bottle collection, including curbside recycling programs where glass is currently under threat. Today, there are far too many glass containers being thrown away, and it has been estimated that roughly 8 million tons of bottles and jars enter landfills in the U.S. annually, and will only rise if glass continues to be removed from single-stream recycling programs. We are here today to let municipalities know there absolutely are markets for clean, marketable, recycled glass through the fiberglass industry, container industry, and countless others which provide both environmental and economic benefits to the state of Georgia. So a few words about the Fairburn plant in particular. The plant opened in 1971, where we employ nearly 300 employees. We manufacture or operate 2 manufacturing lines that manufacture residential insulation in many forms. And for the plant, recycled glass as an input material it's a key contributor to our energy-efficient operations and cost competitiveness. Please know that the Fairburn plant is committed to long-term operations and cullet use in Georgia, as evidenced by our significant capital investments both this year and next. And that echoes across the country with all our facilities. We're committed to the fiberglass industry. We're committed to taking advantage of recycled content because of its many benefits, both internally to Owens Corning and externally to the environment and reducing landfills. So thank you for the opportunity to address you today. We'll be glad to answer some questions. I do have some of our technical expertise on hand if there's something that hasn't been addressed yet. Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
How recyclable is the is your finished product, your fiberglass?
It cannot be put back in as an input material. That's it's typically not a recyclable product. A finished fiberglass product is that
yes, sir.
Yes. That is not a recyclable product. Yes.
I was actually curious with the fiberglass how the increase in foam insulation has impacted the fiberglass demand that would then be used for recycling.
Well, it's a completely different approach.
No, I didn't know. That's really a kind of sensitive issue, so I didn't want me to analyze it and not put yourself on the spot.
I appreciate that.
So the question is yours. So fiberglass insulation continues to be the leading material, and we've got numerous competitors, and spray foam is one of those competitors. We continue to look very carefully at spray foam and recognize that essentially what they're doing is they're creating a small factory in each building or home that they put the insulation in and are spraying it in. I think there's a lot to be learned and understand about spray foam as we go along. So fiberglass is still a predominant share in the marketplace. Did I answer your question?
I was just wondering if there was any concern about its increase.
We're concerned about all of our
I can ask Coke that same question about
Yes.
This has probably been answered at some point, but what is the percentage of recycled glass in insulation?
So within Owens Corning, we advertise we're between 53 and 73%, and locally we're at the north end of that spectrum. Okay. Thanks so much.
John Smith?
Second time I've heard that.
Hi, I'm Phil Tucker. I'm with Johns Manville. I work at the Technical Center in Littleton, Colorado. I'm a senior research engineer, and I'm primarily responsible for raw materials, color recycled content, and glass formulation or glass control for insulation businesses. We don't actually use any recycled content in our continuous filament fiberglass because of the defects that would cause issues with the filaments. I'm here with my compatriot from the Winder plant, Jonathan Podrznik, and he's our EHS manager for the Winder plant. I'm going to let him talk just a little bit about the Winder plant first.
All right. Just to give you a little perspective on the Winder plant, we make light density fiberglass bats and rolls, mostly for new residential construction. I have a sample of our product. If you don't know what fiberglass insulation looks like, this is one of our thinner products. We make faced and non-faced insulation products. This particular one is a faced. We have nearly 300 employees, and these are the high-wage manufacturing jobs that are declining in America. If you combine our payroll with our local spend, we estimate that we help support an additional 1,500 jobs. Pardon me. We're an important part of the community. We take pride in our community involvement. JM supports and does extensive local charity work with organizations like March of Dimes, Boy Scouts, YMCA, Adopt a Highway, Barrow County Schools, and Relay for Life. We also take pride in February of this year, John's Manville Winder plant was recognized as a Barrow County Large Business of the Year by the Barrow County Chamber of Commerce. The availability of high-quality local cullet helps support the Winder plant. JM strongly supports recycling programs because we use a large amount of recycled glass, especially in the form of post-consumer bottle glass, to make our insulation products. This is a sample of some of SMI's material that we inject in our fiberglass batch. The Atlanta area supplies 10% of the cullet that JM uses across all of our North America plants. And here at Johns Manville, we will continue to use cullet at Winder, and we will seek to increase the amount of cullet that we use.
So we could probably easily use twice as much as we're using right now in Georgia. We're limited by the availability of supply primarily. There's several reasons why cullet use is important to Johns Manville, and it's kind of echoing the same reasons that everyone else is going to say here. We call it recycling glass, but we're actually, in addition to recycling the materials that go into the glass, originally the virgin materials, we're recycling the energy that goes into the glass. A large percentage of that energy is being recycled if you remelt it, because the energy savings is about anywhere from 30-35% for most glass manufacturers that are melting a glass that uses soda ash and limestone, because you're replacing those carbonates, sodium carbonate and calcium carbonate, which is limestone, with the glass, which is now calcium oxide and sodium oxide, and you've basically already driven off the CO2, which is what requires the energy. So requires significantly less energy to remelt the glass. In a gas-fired melter, that energy directly impacts emissions and greenhouse gases in the combustion process. We melt electrically, so our energy savings in terms of emissions translates into the power industry. So the power industry has to produce less power, so there's less combustion there, and they create less greenhouse gases. So it's kind of indirect. We directly reduce greenhouse gases in our melting process by replacing those calcium and sodium carbonates. We also reduce local landfill space if we can recycle the glass instead of throwing it away. Another one I think it hadn't been mentioned here is cullet is a local raw material in Georgia. If we use soda ash, it comes from Wyoming, so you're creating transportation costs and environmental impacts from the transportation from Wyoming. We get lime from Ohio, and we're replacing that with cullet from Georgia. Local raw materials help increase our local spend in the Georgia economy, as well as reduce our carbon footprint. And then I think the last thing I got down here is the long transportation distances affect our customers' ability to get LEED credits, green building codes look at how far materials are coming from. They look preferentially for local raw materials you get more credit for local raw materials. We also get more credit for post-consumer recycled content in our product than we do for pre-consumer product, like a window glass. So recycling from households is all pretty much post-consumer glass. So we want to use that as primarily what we use. And just kind of in closing, just like to say that we support recycling in all areas in which we have plants across the nation, and it's important to us to our sustainable planning going forward, and we support any efforts to continue to recycle.
I've seen the color of John Mansfield's. No, I'm talking about
the
insulation.
That's a plant-based binder.
Yeah, but
most of the industry has gone to that in the last.
No. What I'm asking is, does the color make it where you use more mixed color than say?
No.
Does the color make a difference in which you use?
The color in a fiberglass, no matter what kind of color you put in it, it's going to be white.
Okay.
Because of the refractive index and the size of the fiber, you don't see any color.
So that's just something you
The
mix
color
in.
comes from the binder.
Okay.
That holds everything
That just
together,
had
so it
never
doesn't
seen
fall
it.
apart.
We dyed it brown because that was making it all brown anyway.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next up, in the PowerPoint is Scott Miller with Knopf Insulation.
Okay, hello everybody. I must confess, following an engineer, I am an engineer. We are ridiculously pragmatic, and we think that people really understand the way we think and what we're going to say. So I'm at great risk before you today. There is a 12-step program. Now we're speaking about beer bottles and stuff. But I'm going to boil everything down to the value of a bottle. And I'll use a long neck beer bottle. About engineers, I need to continue. To the pessimist, the glass is half empty. To the optimist, the glass is half full. I like talking about glass. To the engineer, it's the wrong size glass. And that's what we're talking about today, is the lack of glass, which is kind of like the wrong size glass. Can you get me out?
Susan warms up.
All right. It says just one bottle. Okay. So, thank you. Next slide. So, as you just heard, generally glass is made with minerals, borax, soda, sand, lime, whatever. And the fact that we're using recycled glass today reduces the impacts of these virgin materials. Next slide, please. This is your down button on your. So, I heard, various estimates on the value of using recycled glass. But in general, today, we as a company, we're at over 60% of all of our manufacturing facilities. It's not all post-consumer anymore. Some post-industrial in there. We used to be almost all post-consumer. But at 60%, we save 20% melting energy versus using virgin materials. And we can boil that down to its impact on the bottom. Next slide. Oh, very important point. And somebody briefly mentioned this, that as a result of using recycled glass, the environmental product declaration very beneficial to us as a company. So when we're out there being compared to different materials, which is going to happen in the future, we're going to look better because we pay attention to stuff. Next slide, please. We are colorblind. I can't reiterate this enough. It can be brown, it can be green, it can be clear, a little bit of blue. And everything that falls through the system that's too small, we can use. Next slide, please. So this is not really a guarded secret with us. These are the fitness for use criteria for using glass at our facilities. And that is, we have electric melt plants and glass melt plants. Well, we have one glass melt plant, which happens to be Lynette, Alabama, which is right across the border. But at our electric melt facilities, we can only tolerate 0.125% organic. That's it. It's got to be that point. 0.2% maximum inorganic ceramics. Write these numbers down. This is what you need to be measuring to sell glass. And I forgot to say, we're your base load. Once you turn a glass processor on, you cannot turn it off. It runs until we rebuild the process. So we're always there. We're always, give me more, give me more, give me more. So we're a very, very comfortable business for you to do business with. You gotta feed the beast. You gotta feed the beast. And we want you to feed us. Okay. Mirror glass, 0.1% and 0.1% magnetic iron. Generally, it's our spec. We'll share the specification with you. We will send it to you in detail. We'll talk about brine and things like that as well. Glass melt plants are easier to feed. They're not as finicky as glass. But the tendency in the industry is to go for electric, because as the utility gets better, we get better environmentally. Next slide, please. To give you an idea, we're using about 10 railroad cars of recycled glass a day. That's a visual. This is not a mom and pop recycling thing. This is serious. This is, the 3 Ps. There's planet, people, and profit. You've got to have profit to be sustainable. We all know that. And 10 rail cars a day. It's roughly where we're at right now. Very few, it's 10, depending on availability. Next slide, please. That's what it looks like when we get it. The one on the right is crushed more, and you just heard the refractive index of glass. The one on the right is crushed more than the one on the left. You can see brown glass, you can see green glass, you can see flint glass. We don't care. We're colorblind. You crush it, it all turns white. It's interesting. Okay, next slide. So, just one bottle. So if you compare the environmental impact of using virgin versus recycled, for every bottle that we melt. Oh wait, do we have beer drinkers in here? Anyone? I heard the University of Georgia isn't allowed to drink out of glass anymore. I went to Ohio State. They haven't banned bottles at Ohio State. We're more sophisticated beer drinkers. No, it's that we were crushing, it's much easier to crush an aluminum can on your head than a bottle. So that's probably why they took them away from you guys. We're still doing bottles. We say 0.07 kilowatt hours for every bottle we melt. Doesn't sound like a big number. 0.07. Next slide. Water. Utilities use more water than anything else in the United States. It's the #1 water use in the United States. So if we don't use energy, we can say we save water. They might be selling it to somebody else, but they're not using it for us. So we save 0.037 gallons of water for every recycled long neck beer bottle that we melt. Next slide. And we save 0.16 pounds of CO2 for every bottle that we melt. Okay? Next slide. But we melt millions of bottles a day. Millions. We're 365, we're 24/7. So we need to start doing some math. Next slide, please. So just from using recycled glass, we're saving on the order of 76 million kilowatt hours, 40 million gallons of water, and 175 million pounds of CO2, just from using recyclable. They're big numbers, they get really big. And, you know, we should be proud of that. You guys should be proud of that. And we can talk about the value an insulation has, and we're not even talking about that, but using recycled glass to make insulation to save energy there's no more sustainable story than that. It's cradle to cradle, it's a circular economy. And we love using your house as a landfill. So, I need to ask you this. A couple of you in here have heard me speak before. If you take one bottle and you could make one infinitely long fiber based on the fiber size that we use in our products, how long would that fiber be from one long neck beer bottle that is taken away from you here in Georgia? That's so sad.
Only an half.
Oh, only an half.
What's the size of the fiber?
Oh yeah, if you're gonna, excuse me?
All you guys chimed in on was that we have 2 bars that went from glass to aluminum. We haven't gotten involved, just 2 bars that went.
There's a couple of high state guys will stick around and try to get the count back up.
That's where the wild dogs party.
10 times to the moon and back.
So somebody's asked me what the fiber diameter was, because he's going to do the math. It's 4 microns. It's 4 microns. Does that help?
No, I'm not. I'm just curious. I was just throwing you, giving you a hard
This is a
time.
12 ounce long neck.
But the people that know me know that I probably do the math. You know, if I knew.
Anybody have a guess? It's miles. So it is 2 miles? Anybody else? 5 miles.
To the moon and back 10 times.
No.
I just love a guy who wills a story.
3 miles.
3 miles. Next slide. New York to Paris.
Whoa.
That's the value of glass. That's the value of our technology, Mary. It's amazing.
Love that kind of stuff. I know. I am so into
Just think how much further you could go if you'd reduce it by 10%.
Next slide, please. Oh, so go home, drink your recycling. Think about it. Seriously.
Think about going to
We appreciate it being here. It's a good business for you. It really is. Think of us as your base load. Think of us as the reliable thing to supply. You need to invest in it to supply the beach.
Can you trade in those beer bottles for airline miles to go to New York?
Frequent drinker mind. Any other questions for me?
Would you mind turning back to that the previous slide?
Yes.
I knew y'all were gonna ask. I'm like,
Interesting fact.
Oh, okay.
you get that one back.
We do that. We have like marbles that we
What one?
remelt, the whole process. And we have
It's on Periscope.
I can't remember the thing. Fiber doesn't go to the moon. I've forgotten, so that's why it's also
Hard to believe.
I like this slide. He's the sustainability piece. He's got a lot of stuff everything worked out. I was thrown into this in the last
Hello. I can't believe I'm back here, but we're on the way. I used to work for the county government years ago. I retired after 23 years of local county government doing recycling. I retired to pursue other interests.
That interest is, I work at a frickin' brewery! So I work at Left Nut Brewing Company. We're located in Gainesville, Georgia. Essentially, we recycled a building that was built in 1927 by Johnson & Johnson Company at their Chicopee Mill. This building is constructed of Georgia heart pine with copper doors. We're now restoring granite front steps. It's an awesome building. You need to come and check it out. But anyway, we restored this building. It was in disrepair, leaking roof. We put a new roof on it, new floor on it, got rid of all the termite damage, a couple of cat carcasses, a couple of rat carcasses, and we're actually producing beer since March 21st of this year. So I want to talk about my segment I represent is the craft segment, otherwise known as microbreweries. The gentleman who was seated with me back at the table there, Tim Kibler, works at Miller Coors. They're a lot bigger player in the marketplace than we are, but I scared him away too, by the way. He's not back there anymore. He's afraid of left. So the craft segment is a user of, breweries are a large user of glass. We don't currently bottle yet, but we will bottle. And I wanted to ask a question. Does anybody remember the plastic beer bottle? Has anyone seen one of those suckers lately? No. I rest my case. That's why glass has a place in the brewery industry. A gentleman earlier said it's a premium container. We plan to package our higher-end products, barley wines, Belgian triples, things of that nature, definitely in glass. And we do feel cans have a place for us in our industry. A public safety standpoint, as Suki pointed out, it's like pool-friendly, beach-friendly, that type of thing. So our lower gravity beers, more drinkable session ales, we may put in a can. But we definitely intend to use glass for probably 75% of our products. So what we need, our industry needs quality. We demand a quality product to put our beer in. Beer, as you know, is under pressure anywhere from 10 to 15 psi. We don't want a substandard bottle bursting on us, so we demand quality. We also need a competitive price. I'm working at an upstart fledgling brewery. We're trying to make some revenues, make ends meet, make payroll. So price is a big consideration for us and other small businesses, other small breweries. We also need to have availability of the glass bottles. If they're not in the marketplace, we can't find them, we can't source them. That's definitely an issue for us. So we need quality, availability, and price. Those are the things that breweries demand, especially a small brewery like ours. I guess that's all I had, Gloria. Do we have any questions? Where's the beer? The beer's in Gainesville.
We could have bought it, and we will do a GRC event there.
I do have stickers. We want to stick them. Yeah, Gloria is thinking about having an event at our brewery. We have excellent space. We have 3,500 square foot of public space. We have excellent restroom facilities. For you girls, we have 3 toilets. I've been to some breweries that have 1 toilet, unisex, 1 toilet. In the men's room, we have 2 bottomless urinals. I fought for that one. It saves 40,000 gallons per year. And 2 flush toilets in our men's room. Yeah, the name. Okay, here's the name. How did this name come about? That's the most common question that I field.